Lewis Hamilton stood on home soil, not in silver, but in red. At Silverstone's fan zone, surrounded by Ferrari merchandise and passion, he paused, then said it. "It's mind-blowing for me to see you guys with the red caps." It was more than small talk, it was a subtle shockwave. This was Lewis, the man who once turned Mercedes' silver into legend, now facing a sea of scarlet that didn't yet feel like home. Behind the grin, there was longing, because deep down, this wasn't just a Grand Prix weekend, it was a confrontation between his past and his uncertain present, and he didn't hide it. "I still love my old team. I miss them. I miss working with the crew all the time. Some of these races I go by the engineer's room and go by the garage and see Bono and see all the mechanics. There's so much love still there." Hamilton wasn't just revealing nostalgia, he was exposing something deeper, a disconnect, a quiet message, not about loyalty, but about regret. And that was just the beginning. 12 years, 6 titles, dozens of race wins, and yet, Lewis Hamilton left it all behind. Not for money, not for comfort, but for something Ferrari hasn't delivered in decades, a chance to make history again. "It was such a big leap of faith to join a new team," he confessed. But Silverstone exposed the cost of that leap. The SF25 wasn't just underdeveloped, it was unfamiliar, unresponsive, and unworthy of Hamilton's standard. He didn't help design it. He wasn't part of the meetings that sculpted its chassis or mapped its balance. That truth became painfully clear in every corner where the car snapped, in every lap where confidence faded. "I'm with a car that I've not been anything a part of developing." This wasn't just a statement, it was a coded message to Maranello, one that screamed, "This isn't my car," and it shows. The greatest driver of his generation trapped inside a machine built for someone else's dream, and no amount of red banners could hide it anymore. The SF25 wasn't born from Hamilton's feedback, it wasn't shaped by his instincts or his style, it was an inheritance, and a flawed one. Every driver has a language with their car. At Mercedes, Hamilton and the W Series machine spoke fluently. At Ferrari, the conversation is strained, muted. Sometimes it feels like the car doesn't even listen. Silverstone made that painfully clear. While fans cheered for the legend on home ground, the car beneath him fought back with every snap of oversteer, every unpredictable corner. He described it as tricky, snappy, and unbelievably difficult. Not just technical terms, but emotional ones. Words of frustration from a champion losing trust in his machine. He's no stranger to struggle, but this isn't the struggle of a title fight. It's the quiet erosion of confidence, the kind that no telemetry can fix, the kind that whispers during braking zones, "You're alone in this." And Ferrari's silence about his discomfort, louder than any radio message. There's a cruel irony unfolding at Ferrari. While Hamilton wears red, his soul is still stitched in silver. Each time he passes the Mercedes garage, it's not just habit, it's memory. I go by the engineer's room and the garage, see Bono and all the mechanics. He's not visiting, he's haunting what used to be home. This isn't nostalgia, it's unfinished business. It's a champion carrying 12 years of synergy into a team that, so far, has given him only instability and apologies. Ferrari promised legend, but what they've delivered is confusion. And Hamilton knows it. At Silverstone, the fans saw the smile, but they also saw something else. A man divided, a driver fighting two battles, one with the SF25's erratic nature and another with the ghost of what he left behind. He hasn't just switched teams, he's walking a tightrope between legacy and reinvention, and the rope is fraying. Because you can't chase an 8th title if you're still chasing the feeling of control. Ferrari's 2025 car was supposed to be evolution. Instead, it became limitation. The SF25's concept, born out of 2024's momentum, ignored the driver who would become its soul, and in that decision lies the fracture. This car was built for continuity, for Leclerc, for the engineers who believed in consistency over reinvention, but when Hamilton signed, they forgot one truth. A machine built without its driver's DNA is just a stranger. Hamilton has never been just a passenger. He shapes cars, bends concepts, redefines balance. That's what he did with Mercedes for over a decade. But in Ferrari, he inherited a philosophy that doesn't match his instincts. "I'm with a car that I've not been anything a part of developing." That sentence isn't just frustration, it's a warning. The SF25 is fast on paper, but it fights its driver. And in F1, that resistance is fatal. At Silverstone, Ferrari gambled on a car. Hamilton is paying the price. Hamilton didn't just switch teams, he stepped into a fortress. Ferrari, for all its legacy, still protects its internal culture like a sacred relic. And Hamilton? He arrived as the outsider. A legend, yes, but not one of their making. He wasn't there in the winter meetings, he didn't sign off on the aero direction, His fingerprints aren't on the suspension setup. And now, every lap in the SF25 feels like driving someone else's ambition. In his words, so many good things, but it's been so tough this year. The good things are surface level, fame, Ferrari caps, applause, the tough. That's behind closed doors, in setups that don't respond, in engineers still tuned to a different language. At Mercedes, Hamilton's feedback was law. At Ferrari, it's still under review. And while the world sees a red-suited icon chasing glory, the reality is colder. He's chasing chemistry in a team that hasn't figured out how to listen. A driver like Hamilton doesn't need time to adapt. He needs a machine that meets him halfway. But the SF25 doesn't. It resists, it bites back. And that's not just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. At Silverstone, that mismatch was on full display. In mixed conditions, with the car on edge, Hamilton couldn't predict its next move. It's snappy, unbelievably tricky, he said. Not as a complaint, but as a confession. This isn't a learning curve, it's a warning sign. Because when instinct and machine disconnect, the risk multiplies. Every braking zone becomes a negotiation, every corner exit, a gamble. And no matter how legendary the driver, confidence is not bulletproof. The fans see the name, they see the red, but they don't feel what Hamilton feels. A car built with the wrong blueprint, trying to carry the weight of a legacy it was never shaped to serve. In racing, faith in your car is sacred. Right now, Hamilton's is cracking. What Lewis Hamilton said at Silverstone wasn't just about missing Mercedes. It was a coded alert, a message wrapped in nostalgia to a team that still sees him as the new guy, not the foundation. It's been so tough this year, he said. I'm with a car I've not been anything a part of developing. That's not a throwaway line. That's a veiled challenge to Ferrari's leadership. A reminder that greatness doesn't just show up. It's built, lap by lap, with trust and vision. If Ferrari wants Hamilton's 8th title, they need to stop treating him like a guest and start building around him like the centerpiece he is. Because right now, he's driving someone else's legacy. And deep down, Hamilton knows time is running out. He didn't come to Ferrari for podiums, he came for glory, for a final chapter that ends in history, not headlines of regret. But here's the real question for you. Can Ferrari still save this partnership, or has the 2025 season already drawn its line in the sand? Drop your take in the comments, and if you're here for the F1 they try to keep behind the paddock doors, hit subscribe. This isn't just news, it's rebellion.